Hello and welcome to Exit Strategy. And welcome to my least favorite part of the show, where I have to record this by myself, and it's weird and it's awkward. And one of these days I'm going to figure out how to do it, because I think it is a marketable skill to be able to Marc Maron in the beginning of a podcast. And yes, that is a verb, Marc Maroning, to have Marc Maroned. It means talk alone on a podcast and maybe flawlessly segue into giving a promo code. I think this is at least the second time I've bashed Marc Maron for no reason, but hey, it's good to be the king. He is, not me. Today, I'm joined by Megan Koester, a stand-up comedian and writer. She came over to the house, brought over a delicious home-brewed kombucha, which I do believe makes it Megan Koester, writer, comedian, and brewer. She came over to talk to me on Exit Strategy. Megan Koester, I should say, before I go on any further, I should plug her because at the end of the show, I totally forgot to ask her to plug what she's got going on, so I got to do it at the beginning. I know that not asking for a plug at the end of the show pretty much disqualifies me from being able to do podcasting. It's kind of rule number one, plugs at the end, but we're going to switch it up and pretend like I didn't make a mistake, and I'm going to plug at the top. Also, forget everything I said about making a mistake. This is a purposeful switching of the format. This is new, baby. We're kicking the podcasts on their ear, and we're doing things diff. So go to inoffensivecomedian.com, inoffensivecomedian.com. That is Megan Koester's website. And on that website, you can check out everything that she's been up to, most of which is her writings. She's a very prolific writer. She's written for Vice and several other publications, and those writings have allowed her to do some pretty insane things, and some very personal aspects of her life have been highlighted through her writings. So you really get to know her, and you really get to see her voice. It's a fantastic way to be introduced to Megan Koester. Also, going to throw in another plug. Go to Vimeo.com and look up Mommy to Braden, which is a short film that she just completed that also is very Megan Koester. It's a great starting point and is based on her fictional 4-year-old son, from her Twitter account named Braden. Today on the podcast, Megan and I, we're going to get a little bit real. We're going to talk about this is probably the most that we'll ever deal with, because Megan is so forthcoming with this. This is probably the most we'll ever deal with the financial realities of being in a creative field. This is not a field that pays money. And the dirty little secret that most performers and artists are not telling the world is that they are very deeply in credit card debt. And that is a very real, very scary reality. And we're going to get into it. And it's another thing that pushes us towards this exit strategy of whether or not it's financially responsible to follow a artistic path, and if it is indeed better to seek out the stability of a lifestyle in another field. We're going to talk to Megan about some real stuff, but also it's going to be light. We're going to talk about some fun stuff, too. And at the end, Megan is going to pick our sponsor for the show for this week. And dare I say it, she does a damn good job. And I think out of all the episodes that we've done, I think she's got the best shot at nailing the sponsorship deals so far. I think the company she reps today had better listen, because I think we got the new face of that product. So let's listen in. We're going to talk to Megan Koester here on Exit Strategy. Hey, we're here with Megan Koester.
Oh, wow. How do we book me?
We got Megan Koester here, and I keep telling people this. Whenever I mention anything about the podcast, I'm going to say the word "we," as if there is a staff.
As if there is a crew of unpaid interns toiling.
We're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We are working on it. Megan Koester is here. Megan Koester I have known for several years. She is a comedian, a writer, an actress.
Yeah.
Is there any other adjectives?
What do women usually say, like on Instagram, like actress/activist?
Oh, boy.
Let's throw activist in there too.
She's an activist. She's got causes.
Sure.
But I've known you as a stand-up comedian for Quite a while. Several years now.
You're probably the only person who knows me as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, see,
a lot of people don't know I do comedy, actually.
I want to introduce you, but I also want to get I want to know what you consider yourself, so that we can have a baseline for this conversation of what, I mean, if we're going to talk about what an exit strategy would be, we need to talk about what is it that you do now.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm a writer by trade, and
Yeah.
that writing is what pays the bills.
Yeah.
So if somebody asks me what I do, I never say comedian because I never make any money doing comedy.
That's always on the side. But you do make a lot of money. Megan Koester here.
A lot of money.
She makes a lot of money. She is, you may have seen her writings on Vice, Jezebel.
Jezebel.
What other publications?
Guardian. I wrote a couple things for Bloomberg Business Week. No big deal.
Bloomberg Business Week.
No one has seen me in Bloomberg Business Week.
It's a wide swath
Right.
that you're getting at here.
Yeah.
But, so you would say you're a writer.
Yeah.
Would you say that the comedian thing is...
Well, I always treated it as a hobby, which
Yeah.
is like self-preservation.
Yeah.
Because if you treat it as a hobby, then you can never be disappointed when you fail at it.
When you get... Yeah. Well, did you start with comedy, though?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, before I did comedy, I was a friendless loser who was getting beaten by a guy.
Okay. What year was this? This was like 2000...
Oh, boy. Who's keeping track? I don't know. Maybe 10? 9?
2010. So it's been a while.
10 or 9 or
You got
something
into
like that.
comedy. That was in Los Angeles, correct?
Yes, I started
Okay.
in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Thank Christ.
I believe I was there for some of your very first performances.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. I don't know if I was there for the first.
I don't. I'm not. You know how comedians can always remember like their first time. I have absolutely no recollection at all. No.
Not just of the date, but the actual event.
No.
Nothing.
Both. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't remember most of my life. I've blocked out most of my childhood.
Well, you just keep moving on. You just keep
Yeah,
moving.
I'm like the keep on trucking guy.
She doesn't stop to think about the past.
Right.
So it's 2010. What is causing you to? Why have you
the
chosen?
cause is the right answer.
Why have you chosen to get into comedy?
I mean, I had always wanted to. It's the same fucking story. Class clown because, it was a way to keep kids from bullying me more than they would have already.
Mm-hmm. And you're funny.
Enjoy humor.
You enjoy humor. You have a pretty wide base knowledge of comedy.
Yeah.
I've come to find. We're both Jerry Lewis enthusiasts.
Similar sensibilities in that regard, yeah.
Some of the only people I think our age that can claim that.
Right, Jerry Lewis apologists and not just people talking about the problematic legacy of Jerry Lewis, yeah.
We see the good every once in a while that comes out of him, but then also can sit back and appreciate him being a total prick as its own piece of art.
Yeah, I mean, watching him nag his own fans was like watching a bird in flight. It was beautiful. People just coming up to him with tears in their eyes, with just gratitude for his existence, and him just pretending to snore.
He was over being famous the day he got famous,
yeah.
And then another 70 years happened.
Correct.
It is the festering wound that is being him.
Right.
Hey, rest in peace, Jerry, by the way.
Mean,
let's just go ahead and say
the
that.
wound is still fresh. Speaking of wounds.
So you're a comedy fan from childhood, and
yeah.
you decide in 2010 to do it.
Yeah.
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 And what pushed you onto stage? What was the final, I'm going to do this?
Well, I mean, a couple of years before that, I had tried to go up at the UCB open mic with the bucket and all that, and I remember dry heaving just on the street. I didn't get chosen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just I had nothing to lose and nothing to gain. I mean, the only reason why I do comedy, I always say the only reason why I do comedy in the first place is it's better than just watching television until you die.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you're doing something active with your mind.
It is an outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a stand-up comedian, I feel like we probably take it for granted how difficult a lot of people think this is, but to us, it kind of does seem like a very passive thing at times.
Right. I mean, yeah. I can't tell you how many. I mean, I'm sure you too. The general thing, amateurs or citizens come up to you and say after a set, it's like, "Oh my God, that must be so hard."
Yeah.
Actually, it's not.
It really isn't.
It's one of the easiest, most selfish things you could do.
After a while, it is very easy to go down an indulgent path.
Yes.
By doing stand-up, but then when you started, it was terrifying.
It was terrifying. It was
absolutely
nerve-wracking.
terrifying.
I had no self-confidence. I would perform behind the curtain a
I
lot of
remember
times.
that. You would perform behind the curtain, underneath a table. The goal, it seemed, when you started stand-up, seemed to be to make yourself as non-visible as possible.
Correct.
That was
that was because that separates you from the. I mean, if you're not looking in their eyes, you can't see their judgment.
Yeah. And I didn't know if that was a state. I didn't know if that was a stage thing. If that was like your
it
act,
seemed like it could have
mean?
been. Yeah. I mean, I guess for a while, because when I first started doing comedy, I would just read one-liners out of a book.
Yeah, behind a curtain,
underneath or table. Sitting on the ground. Yeah.
Often not even on stage.
Yes.
I would say.
Mm-hmm.
That
was
my
shit
days.
in a hallway.
So it's 2010, you're starting doing this, and it's become a regular thing where it's not just, I'm going to do it once and then get it out of my system. It's kind of like you're committed to it. If you could put yourself in that mind space again.
Right.
It sounds like from what you're telling me, that you just sort of threw caution to the wind and it was just something you were trying. But was there a goal in mind? Was there a place this was headed towards when you started? Was there like a dream that was pushing
not
towards?
Necessarily. I mean, I feel like I can confidently state this now because I have talked about the fact that I had an ex-boyfriend who used to beat me, and I've talked about it in podcasts before. He tried to sue me for libel, but then I was able to counter that argument by finding instances in which I am telling the truth that he did what he did. So I can say this in a podcast that will be listened
and
to.
I'm not legally culpable.
You are not legally culpable
good.
at all.
That's
all
we care about here.
I started doing comedy with this guy, and it was like an activity that we would do together. And neither of us had any other friends in Los Angeles. So it was just sort of, an activity that would get us out of the house. I didn't really have any expectations with it. And also, I was in an abusive relationship at the time, so I was already sort of broken down as a human being, so I had no self-confidence to begin with. Yeah, which is where a lot of my early stage persona comes from, complete and utter lack of confidence and fear.
It is a bizarre dichotomy of the fact that you are going up on stage, which is so. I mean, it's almost its own form of abuse. Not to put down or make light of the actual abuse, but it really is. I mean, God, if you're already a vulnerable person, what possibly harder thing could
we were
you
just
do?
saying that like comedy is like really self-indulgent and not hard, but it's also, when you begin, it's terrifying because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. It
is pretty soul-sucking, and I mean, I can only speak from my experience, but it was a solid, I would say, 2.5 years before I ever got a consistent laugh or felt in any way like I knew kind of what I was doing.
Right.
It's a long time of fooling yourself into, hey, just keep getting up there. You're gonna get it sometime.
If you just continue to grind, then everything will work out. Or whatever.
Yes. So it's 2010, and you're kind of just doing this to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically.
Did it shift at any point to where you started to think, okay, this is?
I mean, I didn't have any friends before I started doing comedy, and then when I started doing it, then I started getting friends. And I think that's what made me a more self-confident person and also want to keep doing comedy because I was getting the validation from my peers or whatever you want to say.
And pulling out of your awful situation.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I was able to get out of it is by the validation of being seen as a non-piece of shit by other people, let's say.
I hate to say this, but did stand-up save your life?
No, sadly, I guess sobriety saved my life. But we can get to that.
We can get to that.
We can't. I don't care. That's a fucking tired trope.
Yeah.
The tortured artist finding salvation.
But stand-up led you into writing.
Yeah.
I would say.
The only reason why I'm a writer is I met a guy at a god-awful open mic years ago who became a editor at Vice and asked me if I wanted to start writing for Vice, and I had never read it. Mm-hmm. And that's beside the point. But I started writing.
Kind of sounds like kind of a weird brag.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so fucking punk. I never read the formerly punk publication known as Vice. But I mean, I don't, I don't read a lot of things. But yeah, so he's asked me if I want to start writing for them, and I did, and then that just...
It's blossomed.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Because I don't even know what I was... Well, no, I can't tell you what I was doing financially before that. I was reviewing pornography.
Yeah.
Internet pornography. For a nominal amount of money.
Are people waiting on the reviews? Like, I'm not going to watch that until...
Well, it was reviews of websites, like pay websites.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure that this doesn't even exist anymore. I feel like 800 years old even talking about the idea of people paying for pornography.
Subscribing. I was under the impression that you were watching like pre-releases of films.
No.
And people were like, well, I would rent it, but I don't know what Koester said about it yet.
Right. I was reviewing specific websites.
Porn websites.
And by reviewing, I mean, you get this many pictures of this woman putting X item in her X crevice, etc. You know what I mean?
So I would say the Vice thing was a step up.
It was a step up.
Yeah, you got to express yourself a little bit more personally. I would say, well, I don't know.
Right.
I haven't read your porn reviews. I don't know.
I mean, I tried to keep it, pretty light, but also there's only so many euphemisms you can use for dick before you want to put a gun in your fucking mouth.
Ooh, I bet you there's somebody that's been doing it for 10 years and they're still going strong, though.
I mean,
somebody is the Van Gogh.
I think my ex-husband is still doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got him into it.
Oh, I'll have to check out his work.
Yeah, you should.
So you worked for Vice. You worked for a lot of publications. It really has blossomed to the point where you have a very definable voice in writing, which is kind of that doesn't happen for a lot of people. I feel like
especially on the internet. Situation. No, I mean most people are just synthesizing things other people have written.
Yeah,
or
it's aggregate.
Yeah, aggregating indignation, basically. This is what we're mad about this week.
It's people who read a headline and then write an article about what they read in the headline without actually having read the article.
Right, as fast as humanly possible. With no editorial oversight at all.
Oh, yeah. It's the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
But in this environment, you have thrived. You've gotten to do crazy things like meet Angeline and go to, run down like your top 3 experiences that you've done. These because you've done some weird stuff.
Yeah.
In the name of writing.
I mean, talking to Curtis Armstrong, a.k.a. Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, who is the #1 Harry Nilsson historian in the world, was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's whose life is this,
Right.
It's weird.
But also, before I came here, I was eating microwave sausage that I bought at the dollar store because I only have $2 left in EBT this month.
Yeah.
So
it's
nice to maybe have a legacy, which is juxtaposed with, McDonald's ads on a website. But also, I am poor.
It is funny, too, because I feel like you do have a lot of famous or influential admirers.
Sure.
You have fans, but then it's... And I think it's the same with people that are on TV or people that perform. Is like, I think if you're not in the entertainment industry, you kind of think, oh, well, that person does something that's seen by a lot of people. They must have like... Oh, they're loaded.
Right, yeah.
Megan's got a house.
Everything's fine because I am verified on Twitter or whatever. It's actually,
Oh, man. The second you get verified on Twitter, you go up to 7 dig on your salary. I'm telling you.
If only.
If only.
Jesus
But you do
Christ.
get the chance to tweet directly at... This is what I found out. I was in charge of the Tig Notaro account for one day.
Classic, yeah.
So I was finally behind the verified paywall, if you will. And I found out that, and if you are not verified, breaking news, this is what happens. If you are verified, you know how you have the mentions tab where you can see people who are talking to you? You also have like the verified mentions tab where you can see that people only mentions from people who are famous or have that check mark. That blew my mind. I wanted that power. I wanted to know that my odds of tweeting at Obama would be like that much higher that he'd see that.
Right. Have you applied for verification?
I did, and I felt really dirty about it.
Did they deny it?
They did deny it.
They denied
absolutely.
me when I applied.
Absolutely. What, did you have to do it again?
No, I got applied after I was on ABC's Nightline for cyberbullying journalist Joel Stein.
Well, if that's what it takes, I guess I got some work to do.
I was denied. And I mean, I had byline, because, Twitter verification was originally for journalists. I was like, I have bylines at like all of these legitimate publications, and they still fucking denied me.
The Twitter verification thing seems like there is absolutely no rhyme or reason to.
No, it's not. It's just some nerd in a windowless office pressing yes or no, basically.
I try not to get angry at other people's accomplishments, but man, if you see a verification that just doesn't hit you the right way,
Been there.
oh boy, that can ruin
I could ruin a week, babe. Shit.
But you are verified. You've made it.
Sure.
You're in the upper echelon. You're a writer by trade. That's what you do.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm not lying my way into focus groups for supplementary income.
It's so amazing. And even I know you.
Right.
I've known you for years. And even I am fooled into thinking Megan writes for Vice. That's it. That's like, all right, a couple more years of that, and then it's...
And then I get a book deal
but
or
it's
something
sti-
like
yeah,
that.
but it's still a struggle. It never stops being a struggle.
Yes.
Which is very frustrating.
Sure.
And I think that's what this podcast is, because I just turned 34, and struggling and suffering and not having money, just as you get older, doesn't get any more fun or any less demeaning. Like it really is crushing.
It solidifies how unromantic it was in the first place.
Yes.
And it just gets unromanticer.
And what I found is, and why I started this, is that I was faced with this decision of, okay, I can keep plugging away at entertainment, at stand-up, at writing, things that are kind of irresponsible, putting me in debt and making my life harder in some ways, but are creatively fulfilling. But then also, at fork in the road, I could, focus and get started down another path that's not that would lead to, I don't know, financial security or just sort of a different way of life. That's
lack
the
of
exit
fear.
strategy. Yes,
Right.
a consistency or a stability that you don't have
Right.
in the artistic life. And I'm just curious what my friends think about that. I don't know that.
Well, it's hard because
concept.
There's nothing more hubristic than thinking that you're so much better than other people that you don't have to work a straight job or actually go into work in the morning like everyone else on fucking Earth does. So, like, what makes you more special than them?
It's just so tantalizing to not.
Right.
And the people that do have normal jobs, I feel like would, in a minute, change that life. I mean, nobody likes to go into an office 40 hours a week.
I mean, some people do, but you don't want to talk to them.
So if you had to start down another path,
right?
If you had to switch gears completely today,
right?
Do you have any idea of what you would want to do?
I mean, before I started doing comedy, I was considering going to grad school. I'm a sociology major, and I wanted to get into social statistics. Like,
what is social statistics?
A statistician.
Okay.
Just collecting numbers and data on human beings
and society.
Basically.
Yeah. You would be the one that's shaping the world at the front.
Well, the thing that's so fascinating with me about statistics is that you can manipulate them to represent whatever you want. So it's a way of playing God with numbers.
Very terrifying.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something that would interest you. Would you, if you went back to grad school and became a statistician?
Well, the thing that always stopped me was that, I mean, I would go to grad school, and then in order to do social research, I would have to be a professor, and I fucking hate people, generally speaking. But I can't deal with people. You know, I couldn't teach.
You couldn't teach a class.
21-year-old who's texting the whole time. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Without losing my mind.
I feel like the further away 21-year-olds are from you, the better. And just in general. It's not...
Yes.
It's... You need... To get Megan's full and undivided respect and attention, you have to come at the interaction with a certain base level of...
Well, I can really only...
knowledge
interact
and maturity.
well with people whose brains are fully developed. Your brain is still growing until you're 25 years old.
Oh,
and that's what, I mean, children who start doing comedy, like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, no. Unacceptable.
You're not ready.
Go get divorced or something, and then we'll fucking talk. You know what I mean?
Okay, good.
What are you going to talk about, prom?
I think I was 25 when I started. So
Yeah, I was like 27.
I had just barely become an adult.
Yeah. But also we fucked up. I guess you didn't really fuck up because you're a man and your age doesn't matter. But I fucked up doing it late because now it's just clock's ticking because I'm abroad.
Well, that's another thing. I don't know if you want to go down this road, but there is that added pressure of... I mean, you are correct. If a man going through this kind of could just hit, whether it be stand-up or acting or anything on camera, can really make it late.
Yes.
The world kind of is fine with the salt and pepper haircut of somebody who's starting out, making it big at that age.
Sure.
But then with women, it and has it gotten any better? It seems as though it's a young lady's game, and it always has been.
Yeah. Well, not always. I mean, think about like the 1960s or something. When you get like Phyllis Diller, John Rivers. I mean, they were already in their 30s, 40s, maybe.
Yeah.
As society has devolved, so has the fascination with youth, specifically. Yeah. Female youth, even in something that shouldn't matter, like comedy.
It really shouldn't, and also it's kind of feels like a system putting youth and beauty on television. Kind of just feels like a system that we're going with, but really doesn't need to be in place. I feel like no one responds crazy negatively when you do throw in somebody that doesn't fit that age group or body type or whatever. If you throw in like Melissa McCarthy, everybody's fine with that. But everyone's also so scared to
yeah, I mean, it's just
rock that boat.
Status quo. It's like the gatekeepers who have been doing it a million fucking years don't understand that, the world is modern and things have changed.
It's time to change, baby.
Well, it's the same reason why, like huge corporations and studios and whatnot just throw all these money at influencers, for example. Yeah. Where it's like if somebody does some sponsored content post or whatever and you give them $10,000, you're not going to make that $10,000 back. You're just throwing money into a fucking vacuum. Do you know what I mean? Because they don't understand the internet because they're all 65-year-old white guys.
But they just trust.
They trust. Yeah, I mean, it's new, it's hip, it's now. But they don't
will get us through.
Right. I got a lot to say about it.
Why don't you be an influencer? I mean, that could be...
I don't own enough hats, Jeff. I don't go to Squirrel.
We'll get you the hat budget. So let's talk about the exit strategy.
Yeah.
If you did become a statistician and you did pursue sociology, would you find that... because right now you have a creative outlet. Would you find that lifestyle fulfilling?
I mean, I would find it similar in that I feel like I would be able to work on my own terms, which is something that is required with someone as precious as I. But also, I mean, maybe not necessarily, because then if I were teaching, then I would have to deal with the bureaucracy of whatever university I was teaching for.
Well, I feel like there's probably going to be bureaucracy no matter what you do.
There's bureaucracy. Yeah, there's bureaucracy with people I write for. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, but you touched on something that I think is a big point for me, and I think for a lot of people that are in creative fields, is the be your own boss thing. I've had day jobs for years after college, and man, once I switched to not having a direct boss, the freedom and liberation that came with that, I don't know if I can go back.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm in the same boat.
It's
like the ultimate paint yourself into a corner, because if you have not answered to people and haven't had a set regimented, you gotta be in this desk at whatever time at this address. How do you go back to that?
Well, and it's fucked because now, I mean, you and I are just like living in abject poverty and fear, just because we don't want to go back to fluorescent lights.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, should we just suck it up ever, or is it just like, is this a hill I want to die on?
Right.
This, I don't want to have a 40-hour-a-week job. And also, as I'm saying this, if anybody's listening that has that lifestyle, are they just like, go to hell? Like,
yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
again, it comes back to like me saying it's so hubristic. Like, what makes us so special that we don't have to do what everyone else does.
But dare I say it, if you found an alternative, it probably sounds crazy to some people, but god damn it, it feels so good to just get out of that lifestyle where you are in a job for 40 hours a week. It doesn't make sense. Now, granted, my lifestyle doesn't make sense either. I don't make enough money to survive.
Right, same. I'm profoundly in debt. Yeah.
It seems like we're on to something. It seems like there's a nugget of this could work.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's like a carrot above your head constantly.
But if you were a statistician, I keep getting sidetracked by huge concepts. I keep getting sidetracked with like, yeah, and another thing, I don't want to have a boss. But we need to talk about you because you're the guest.
Sure. I mean, I don't care.
I would like to talk about you.
All right.
We can talk about me throughout the course. If I reveal everything in this episode, what's the
impetus to keep listening? Well, maybe because they're working a 40-hour-a-week job under fluorescent lights and they have nothing else but listening to other people talk.
Well, it's a good way to get through a commute.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why these things are so popular, Jeff.
We're glad to have anybody that's listening, whether you have a job, you don't have a job, whether you're creative or not.
Mm-hmm.
But if you
preferably non-creative.
I would love it. I actually, this is the thing. I'm going to throw this out onto social media, and it's going to be consumed by people that do what we do.
Right.
And that's one audience. But I interact with them enough. I've stand-ups, actors, people I know that do entertainment. I'm kind of like, hey, thank you for listening. Please continue to listen. But I would love it if other people that weren't in this field listen to it more.
Right.
That's more impressive to me.
Well, there's also more of them than there are of us.
Yeah, and they have, I don't know, their opinions matter more, honestly. They do.
Yeah, I mean, because they're not tainted with their own ego.
They appreciate entertainment at a level that we don't.
Well, and they also appreciate things sincerely instead of, I mean, even despite my worst efforts, or best efforts, I guess I should say, you're never going to be able to get over the like, well, why not me?
Yeah.
You know, and you can never be truly happy for someone else.
It's true.
And their success, because if they're succeeding, you're failing by proxy because you're not them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I could go through being in entertainment without interacting or seeing other entertainers, I could probably do it with no sweat.
Sure.
It's the other people that just make it so much harder because you're constantly second-guessing yourself, comparing yourself to other people's successes, overblowing people's successes, and putting them into like, this is something that I learned very recently. I would see people that were my peers have successes, be on television, have television sets, and for a while I thought, that's it, they've got it made. Whether I supported it or whether I thought they didn't deserve it, that's irrelevant. The fact is, I thought they were on TV once. That's it.
Game changer.
Life is ready to roll their way.
Right.
And as I've gone on through this, I've sort of found like, oh no, that's just like one step in their journey. Like if I'm sweating every single success that everyone has, that is exhausting and not productive at all.
And also, there's no Carson anymore. Do you know what I mean? A late night set doesn't mean jack shit. Entertainment has become so stratified. There's so many options. Being on something is almost as if being on nothing. you're instantly forgotten because there's more content next day.
So why are we doing this?
That's a great fucking question. I think it all the
pushing
time.
Towards?
I just don't want to be scared anymore. Like I want to make more than $18,000 a year 1 year, and I'll be fine. You know what I mean? I feel like I have an unproducible pilot in me. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not asking for much.
I'm not saying you have to make it. Just pay me for writing it. Is all I'm saying.
You seem like you would be. See, I keep neglecting the exit strategy because to me, knowing you, I feel like you ask so little of your dreams. That sounds awful, but it seems like your contentment would come with such a low bar.
The bar is very low, yes.
That it almost seems like to discuss an exit strategy is a moot point. Mm-hmm. Because to you, you just want to be... You're not saying, oh, I want to be on Saturday Night Live.
No.
You're not saying, oh, I want to be fucking Kevin Hart or whatever.
I mean, that'd be kind of fun.
I mean, it'd be fun. I don't think you would...
I don't wear diamond bracelets. I think I'm also taller than Kevin Hart.
Well, hey, that's a low blow. I don't think that you would deny... You wouldn't shy away from it. Sure. But it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking out of turn, but if you could just make $35,000 a year... That's
mind-blowing to me. $35,000, I can't even wrap my brain around it. I don't know what I do with it.
So your exit strategy, it seems like, is just keep on doing it.
Yeah, my exit strategy is that I don't need an exit strategy, I guess, and that I could just... I mean, I feel like maybe if things continue at the trajectory they are now, it might get untenable at some point. Like I said, I am pretty in debt because I don't make enough to survive, and I have credit card debt, and I also have student loan debt and all that. Mm-hmm. So the more that piles up, the more scared you get. But I guess you are just, you're banking on, like, maybe at some point...
Something's got to hit.
Yeah, like maybe I'll get a book deal, or like maybe I'll sell a pilot, or maybe,
That's
you know what I mean?
all it takes, just one little stepping stool.
Right.
Stepping stone, sorry, that's not the expression.
No, stool, definitely.
One stepping stool to get to the dream you've got in the cupboard. Mm-hmm. That's all you need. Yeah.
And I mean, nightmare's still a dream, is what I always say. But also, I mean, what's the dream? I don't know. Like, really, the bar is as low as I don't want to be on food stamps anymore.
Mm-hmm. And all you,
Do you know how fucking low that is, Jeff?
I do. I do know how fucking low that is. They won't let you get the hot bar at the damn grocery store. You only can get the salad bar.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, I think that you and I are very much in the same boat. I have the same feeling as you of I don't want to make it big necessarily. I just like to live in some level of comfort. And
I prefer appealing only to a niche audience too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you have an audience base there, and it's growing. And I think that, damn it, if I have my way, and maybe this podcast is what breaks Megan Koester. If I have to start a damn Patreon for you, there's got to be enough Megan Koester heads out there that can at least I don't know. There's got to be some way we can make this happen.
To monetize my talent.
We've got to be able to monetize our talent. Consider adopting Megan. Consider donating to the Megan Koester cause, because it sounds to me like you're not going to become a statistician anytime soon.
I mean, the likelihood of that is because also, in order to do that, I would have to go back to school and accrue even more debt, which would augment my fear.
Sounds like your exit strategy firmly blocked.
I mean, yeah. What exit strategy is maybe waiting for my grandparents to die? I don't know. Probably get like $20,000 out of that or something.
Well, that's more than you made this year, so
it's more than I've made any year in my entire miserable fucking life. Jesus Christ.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've discussed enough financials, but
this is a financial podcast.
This is a financial podcast.
This is on the Motley Fool Network.
So Megan brought her W-2s, and we're going to go through and see what rebates she She is eligible for. No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually give you an opportunity to make it big in our next segment. We're going to take a little break, but when we come back, Megan Koester is going to pick the sponsor for this week's episode. And
what's going to happen when we take the break, by the way? Are you going to play like some Stinger music? Or?
I'm going to play some Stinger music.
Okay, cool.
And please do not insult the Stinger music. I made it myself. It took a long time.
Oh, great.
It's royalty free. I don't know if I'm allowed to use commercial music, so I just played it safe.
Yeah, I think it's probably best to use your own, yeah.
Yes. So when we come back, I'm going to give you the opportunity of a lifetime.
Okay.
Because you are going to get to pick the sponsor. And in doing so,
perhaps,
if that sponsor hears you talking about their Prado, man, hear about talking about this company, talking about this thing, they're going to be like, hey, wait a minute. This could be the new voice, the new face of said thing. This is like your ultimate demo reel. So think about who you want to be the sponsor.
Oh boy,
I'm going to cue up some Stinger music, and we're going to be right back with Megan Koester.
Great.
I want to make sure you get the best Stinger. Here's something that I did when I was making the Stinger music, because I was like, well, what if I have like a really like sad episode? Like I can't just have something. I can't have something all like funky underneath it. So I made some like really like downbeat or like minor key ones.
Minor key Stinger.
So like I don't know, there could become a day where like we get real in here, and then I gotta do it. So I'm ready, but I think this episode is going to be major key Stinger. I don't think we're gonna go into the sad Stingers.
Yeah, it hasn't been that sad.
No, but we have one more segment to go.
Okay.
All right, Megan Koester is back.
I'm back, baby.
She's back. She was gone for a sec.
Smoked a cig.
But she's back.
I'm back.
This is the most important segment of the show because this is the segment where you get discovered.
This can increase my station in life.
This really could.
Profoundly.
Because here's the thing. You can pursue your art.
Sure.
That's fine. It's
I've
hard.
been doing that.
You've been doing that. But, like, wouldn't it be great if you got to pursue your art standing on the shoulder of giants? I'm talking corporate sponsorship, paying those bills while you...
while I delight my fans.
While you delight your fans.
Yeah.
And the ones that, you know, hey, some people might call you a sellout, but as Lars Ulrich said, yeah, we sold out. We sold out arenas all over the damn world. Selling out, it's not a thing anymore. So, Megan Koester, you get to pick the sponsor for this week's episode. Who's the sponsor of Exit Strategy this week?
2 words. That is 1 word. Diva Cup.
Do you want to get a clean take on that?
2 words. That is 1 word. Diva Cup.
Diva Cup. That is right. If you're unfamiliar, I happen to know what a Diva Cup is because
you're a woke ally.
Because I'm a woke ally, and I live with a Diva Cup user.
Fantastic, love it.
And it's, I mean, legit. I'm a man. I'm very ignorant in the subject, but it sounds to me like this is the way to go.
Oh yeah, it's a wave of the future.
You don't got to buy shit.
It's the red wave of the future. Yeah, you don't have to be in the pocket of Big Tampon anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One purchase.
One purchase. They say you're only supposed to use it a couple years. I take that as a suggestion.
But then, how long has the Diva Cup been around? We don't know yet. Long-term tests have not been done.
Sure. I think maybe the silicon erodes over time.
Yeah.
I should explain what a Diva Cup is. A Diva Cup is a menstrual cup.
No, wait. If you don't know what a Diva Cup is, you turn this.
Why are you listening?
No, go ahead.
Diva Cup is a menstrual cup that you reuse every cycle that collects your... Well, how would you even describe menstrual? It's not blood necessarily.
It collects what a tampon would.
Correct, like your uterine lining, basically. And you fish it out of yourself and dump it out twice a day.
No fuss, no muss?
No fuss, no muss.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to wear a pad like you're a fucking infant. You know, there's no diaper related.
Yeah, and when you're done, you put it in the carrying case provided.
When you're done, you boil it. Sterilize it.
Oh, I didn't know you boil it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Get ready for the next cycle.
Oh, God. See, this is the future because how much does a box of tampons cost?
Depends on if you're getting, like, you know how they have the ones with the fancy packaging? Like, it looks like a candy bar? Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's so, the
don't.
way in which feminine protection products are marketed is so patronizing.
Yeah.
And the name brand ones are, they're a higher quality, let's say, but they're also more patronizing and they charge more. I would say maybe a box of tampons is like $6.
Yeah.
And you use at least one box per cycle. If you bleed a lot.
And then you add that up, end of the year, plus you got to carry them, all that stuff.
And they're taxed, which is fantastic.
So, yeah, you get out of that. Well, I mean, I guess the Diva Cup is taxed, but one-time purchase.
One-time purchase, 20-something bucks.
20-something bucks. Use promo code Megan Koester.
Use promo code Maron to get 10% off.
That might actually exist, though. Don't use Maron. We want to... I don't know how to get a promo code, but if we do
I meant promo code Marin. Sorry, I misspoke.
If I find a way to get a promo code going, Diva Cup, you heard it here first. Megan Koester would love to be the face of your product, would love to be the voice of your product.
Me and my friend, Lil Mama Allison Stevenson, also comedian, have been talking for a long time about how great it would be to do a tour sponsored by Diva Cup.
Hey, Diva Cup people, I'll tag you in the tweet. You've been warned. You've heard this segment, and I will give the specific in the tweet. I'll give the specific time code for this idea because I think a Diva Cup World. I could not think of a better sponsor for a tour for Megan Koester and Allison Stevenson than Diva Cup. And
I can't
I'm talking
either.
like the logo plastered everywhere.
Everywhere, wearing the shirt. I'll get a tat. I don't care. I got one tat. Nothing matters anymore.
She's willing to go to these lengths, Diva Cup. So. Let's help her out. Megan, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today about failures and successes, and I wish
Thanks
you
for being
best.
so conveniently located to my home. 5-minute drive.
That offer is not extended to everybody.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks.